The Van Buren Warriors are proudly brought to you by the Packwood Locker of Packwood, Iowa, Smithburg Auto of Fairfield, Iowa, Henshaw Trailer Sales of Richland, Iowa, and the Cedar Rapids Titans Arena football team that will be on Brown Guy Radio for their game 1 next Sunday at 5 o'clock as they take on the Midwest Raptors. You can see that on our YouTube channel. We got Coach Shellman of the Van Buren Warriors. Welcome program, Coach.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Well, you get a big win in the shootout against Highland and defend you were part of a South-North sweep there as every team in the South won, and you guys had a nice game against Highland. Can you tell our listeners who you played, what the final score was of that game?
Yeah, we played Highland, and there's one extra team in the North versus the South Division, and so Highland actually got 7th out of 9 teams in their division, and we have 8 in the South. And so L&M was left out, and that left Lone Tree in the 8th seed going against our 8th seed, which was New London at Van Buren. And then we played Highland for the 7th seed out of the 2 conferences. And so Highland kind of had to beat L&M to get into that the week before, and so they were kind of on a hot stretch there. But we played Highland and at home, so we've kind of struggled at home at times throughout the season, but we had a really good showing there. Was led by Will Corll with 26 points that night, followed by Kinnick Miller with 17 and Jace Duncan with 15, and everybody on the team besides one kid scored points for us that night. The final was like 76 to 68 or something like that. The game was a little bit closer than maybe what the real feel was. Towards the end, we wanted to get some of our senior guys in for one last time together, which kind of messed with our rotation, and we fouled them a little bit, and they were able to kind of squeak that back into single digits to the final score. But Highland played a really good game. We played a pretty solid game for us as well, and like you mentioned, we were able to kind of sweep that Southern Division against the North Division, which is something that we always strive for.
Well, I watched the game. It seemed like Highland played pretty well in the first half. It seemed like they led the whole way except for the very last bucket in the first half, and I think you took a 2-point lead or something into halftime. Was that the way you remember it?
It was, we had a gauntlet of a January schedule. We played like 4 games and 5 nights and twice in January. And then once February hit on the calendar, we quit playing. Essentially, we had 1 game. And so we had been off for almost a week and a half before we played Highland. And so we definitely came out with the cobwebs all over us. And it took a while for us to be able to get those off and start playing, knowing that we could play better. And so give credit to Highland. They came out and really swung at us, and they were up by like 5 at the end of the first quarter. And it just took us a while to get going. And once we did get going, kind of everything started falling our way.
Yeah, well, Highland had a pretty good year, a better year than they've had in the last 3 or 4 years, I think. And it does look like they've got a little talent there that they might be able to put some wins on the board here next year. So let's talk about overall for the whole year. Who's kind of been leading the way for you in the statistical categories, rebounding and scoring and assists or steals or blocks or whatever you want to talk about?
Yeah, we have a really good junior class. A lot of my kids that I'm playing on varsity could be JV players. And so we've been starting 3 juniors and 2 sophomores for the last month and a half, just due to injuries and natural nutrition there. But Will Corll has been a leader for us throughout the games. It's kind of been a 3-way, 3-headed snake, so to speak, as far as who our leaders are. It kind of just depends on the night, which is a luxury to have at times. With Will Corll, Kinnick Miller, and Landry Leffler, those are kind of our 3 junior leaders for us. Landry's kind of been on the streakier side of, you may have 20 and then only score 2 or so, just based on who we're playing and how they're playing us. But each night you're going to hear Kinnick Miller and Will Corll. Will brings the ball up for us a lot, and Kinnick leads our team with rebounds and usually has quite a bit of points thrown in too. And so really Will and Kinnick are the ones you see in the box scores that stick out the most, but Landry is the guy that we put on one of their best players most of the nights too. And so, we're not so focused on getting him shooting and scoring as much as stopping their best player. And then we have the 2 sophomores that I mentioned, which is Cree, Kite, and Jace Duncan. Jace Duncan's one of those where he's a very athletic kid. He's really a good wide receiver on the football field, and and quick, and he gets stuck on their best defender a lot of nights too when we're switching if they have more than just one. And so Jace is one that's kind of struggled as far as his overall sophomore slump, so to speak, of his shooting this year, but I think we'll be able to get him through that. He's starting to get through it here later down the stretch of the season. And Cree Kite's kind of filled in for our 5 guy. He's one that you don't see him points. You may throw in 4 to 6 points a night, but he's getting, 6 to 8 rebounds for us and setting some key picks and getting some key steals for us down the stretch. And so those 5 have really been our key leaders, along with some other support guys. But those have been our 5 main focal points here moving down the stretch.
Okay. Tell me, was there anybody had like a one single game where they really played well or scored a lot of points, or is there a single game performance you can tell me about that you appreciated from one of your players?
When we played New London the second time at New London throughout the year, that was a game that we unfortunately lost. That was kind of a key moment in the standings of our district as far as there. We were really playing well, and Will Corll rolled his ankle really bad for the second time of the year. And early in the game, it was like 3-0, and we were up, and that just kind of let out our sails for the year or for the game. And that was kind of the breakout night for Landry and Kinnick to really step and lead us as a team. And so Kinnick Miller that night had like 26 points and really led us and had a double-double with multiple rebounds. And that was kind of his get-going moment in the season, I feel like, for us. That's going to be a turning point for us as we come down the stretch. And even to next year where all these guys now have more experience, that hopefully we can reach a double-digit win next year and be a little bit more successful in the conference and overall record. But that New London game for Kinnick and Landry was really good. They both had over 20 points, and they were playing hard defense and rebounding really well for us. And so that one really sticks out for me as far as just an overall breakout game for us. When one of our better guys went down, the next guy stepped up, which we've been preaching on all year. So I'd probably pinpoint that game for us.
All right. Well, the playoffs are coming up. It sounds like you got EBF. Their school has some talent. We've seen them in baseball in the playoffs, I think, last year. They have some pretty good athletes. I'm not exactly familiar with how their record was, but I know it's much improved over the last year or two.
Yeah, EBF is a powerhouse in a lot of aspects, and basketball seems like even when they're down year, they're still having a successful year. And so I haven't had a chance to watch a ton of tape. I watched them once when they played Davis County or Cardinal when I was scouting as far as getting ready for those two. And so we'll pull tape. What I've seen of them, though, is they're very comparable to us this year. They have a couple good kids and a lot of good support players. And, they play in a tough 2A, 3A conference too. And so you can't just walk over and think that the Southeast Iowa Super Conference necessarily got you completely ready. And with the districts, everyone's record 0-0, so to speak. And so we hope to go over there and have a good showing. And 7:00 on the 16th here, a week from yesterday. And we know it's going to be a tough game for us, but we're looking forward to the challenge.
Okay. Well, I sure appreciate you taking some time to be with you. Congratulations on what I think was an outstanding season, and good luck to you in the playoffs. Was there anything you want to talk about when you get a chance to talk about?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well, thanks for being with us. Thanks for leading these young men. I think you got a bunch of good kids, and I really like your school, and I really like your fans, and I really like your gym, and I think it's always a great experience for us. And I'm glad we got a game or two of Round Guy Radio of your squad, and I know you got I think a couple wins actually. It might have been. No, I would say that you got the win against Lone Tree in that scrimmage, and I think you got the win against Columbus when we had you on. I guess you didn't get the win against Holy Trinity, but that's 2 out of 3. And according to Meatloaf, that ain't 2 out of 3 ain't bad. So thanks for being with us, and good luck the rest of the way. Good job, Coach. I'm struggling to get off the air here, but I think we're just going to end it.
Yep, thank you.